Today I want to talk to you about one of the most important facets of recovery and probably the biggest disease, if you will, that Samantha and I had to overcome both early on in recovery and then 15 or so years down the road. It's got to be dealt with, and if not, I promise you it will absolutely decimate any and all momentum in recovery and even just in marriage. This disease, and I've probably got your attention now because I alluded to the fact that even 15 years down the road past D-Day, it can be an issue. The issue is called disconnection. It is the basic kind of understanding of you, Samantha, are in your world, taking care of the kids, doing admin stuff, working your job and all of that, and I'm in my world. I'm doing my videos and I'm working and I'm running this company or I'm doing that and I'm managing this and I'm in my world, you're in your world, and we just kind of live these separate lives. And it doesn't just happen in marriage, it can happen in recovery, right? Well, I'm reading my stuff and I'm doing my work and you're doing your stuff and you're doing your work, and you just kind of live in separate worlds. And unless there's a separation that you have agreed upon where you're supposed to be doing that, understanding disconnection can really help save your recovery and save your marriage. Samantha absolutely despises feeling disconnected from me because the number one reason that produces this hatred of disconnection is, quite honestly, fearing relapse. Because if we're disconnected, she would wonder early on in recovery, where am I? What am I doing? Why are we in separate worlds? That's part of what created the affair in the first place. So we have had to work very hard to produce ongoing connection just in our marriage. Now, 15 years down the road, is she worried that I'm going to be cheating? Absolutely not. However, we have recovery principles in place to prevent even the slightest appearance of infidelity, or said another way, and I say this passionately but with great humility, is that I don't ever want Samantha to feel what she felt again, ever. And just because we're 15 years down the road doesn't mean that I think that I've arrived and that I have this false, pride, or I guess it would be better said, this, unrealistic pride that I'll never fall again. Do you know the people that say, I'll never fall again, are far more likely to fall back into infidelity or addiction than the person that says, you know what, I can fall at any time. So I've put boundaries around my life. I've instilled boundaries and accountability. While I'm still confident in my own recovery, I'm not stupid enough to believe that my willpower is enough to keep me from falling. So I have boundaries in place because I know if I'm stupid, I could lose the momentum that I've worked so hard to build in an instant. You see, I think typically when you're dealing with marriage, it's predominantly, but not always, the man who feels like, well, disconnection's just, it's great. I'm doing my thing, I'm doing my stuff, I'm involved in this and that, and you're involved in your stuff, and that's all working great. And again, typically, the wife will say, whoa, hey, we're on autopilot. We're just kind of doing our thing, and that's not how we live. We've got to have a date night. Samantha calls them business meetings, where we sit down, we match our calendars, we talk about pressing things with the kids or with my work or her work or the family or bills or how we're paying for college and this and that. We call them business meetings. We, to be very open with you, have to have a business meeting once a week unless there's, some unforeseen issue that comes up, and we have a date night. And a date night could just be sitting on the back patio with a glass of wine or bourbon and just connecting. But we have worked so hard to make sure that we stay connected. Now, to some of your points that you probably are bringing up in your mind, sometimes there's been kind of a mandatory disconnection, right? Like a legal separation or a structured separation, to be able to disconnect because times are just too tough and you're too angry at each other and you can't communicate. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, and that type of disconnection has a place and needs to be done in some cases for some period of time. I'm talking about being on autopilot, you're doing your thing, they're doing their thing, and there's just this disconnection between you two, which to the betrayed spouse screams of relapse. To the unfaithful spouse, it produces a frustration, even maybe a feeling of loneliness, which obviously could be very dangerous. So I want to talk to you very quickly about some reasons that disconnection happens within recovery work. The easiest one is unforgiveness, because when we have unforgiveness or we have resentment towards our spouse or our partner, the last thing that we want to do is connect. When we're immensely frustrated because we're feeling like they just won't get it and they just won't overcome some things and we're just bitter, the last thing that we want to do or we feel led to do is connect and get into their world. We'd rather just stay in our world, do our thing, and let them feel what life is like without us being joyful and passionate and involved in their life. Another reason that we allow or tolerate disconnection or even just kind of drift towards disconnection is one spouse gets exhausted. And it's just exhausting to feel like you are trying to communicate with your spouse and they are not reciprocating. This has been a struggle for Samantha, off and on, throughout the last 14, 15 years, feeling as though I haven't wanted to connect with her when I'm dealing with my own issues. I'm dealing with my own struggles. And again, for the last 12 or so years, it's not been infidelity, it's just been life. So please don't think that I'm 14, 15 years down the road still dealing with disconnection due to infidelity. Not at all. So please be at peace. But for those of you early on in recovery, or even a few years into recovery, disconnection many times feels like you are a million miles away from your spouse because your attempts have not been reciprocated. Now, it's important that you understand the number one predictor of divorce is contempt. That's via John Gottman, one of the top marriage therapists in the world who actually trains other therapists. And you can do some research that contempt is the number one predictor of divorce, not necessarily infidelity or financial difficulty or what have you. Now, one of the most cancer-like producers of contempt is when a partner feels like their bid for connection gets ignored. So when there's these bids for connection in recovery work, and they get ignored and they're not responded to, it produces eventually a sense of contempt, which obviously caters towards disconnection. And so you wake up one day and you say, we're a million miles away. Why do I even want to try again when we're so far away and you won't even respond to my attempts to connect with you? So if you and your spouse or partner are significantly disconnected today, and you're wondering, what do we do? Number one, I would commit to doing aggressive, rock-solid, personal recovery work because there's probably a reason that you both feel disconnected. And so one of the best things that you could do is take ownership and work on you. I mean, read books, see a personal therapist or a life coach, or take a course online at affairrecovery.com, but do some aggressive, intentional, personal work on you. Secondly, it might be good for you to have your spouse listen to this video and say, do you feel like we are disconnected? What do you feel we could do to get more connected? Or what do you need to feel more connected to me? Finally, and I know this gets played out, and I hate it and I'm sorry, but you've got to get into an expert-driven process to help you start to get reconnected. That process is going to come from someone who's an expert in recovery, who can help design a process for you both. But without that process, I'm sorry, more than likely, you're going to continue to get angry at each other because you can't see each other's attempt to connect, and you just finally feel like giving up. But don't give up. Get into a process from an expert that can help you finally get connected.